Just north of the Bering Sea, we can find the nesting grounds of the young new fledgling GRIM.exe. This heaping automaton scrap of metal has just left his home for the first time. Let us watch as he heads out into the harsh perils of nature, fending for his own for the very first time. Here we can see the GRIM.exe mid lane, scouting out his opponent, looking into their eyes and assessing the threat level before him. As he stares forth, he encounters the first of his tribulations, and that will be the devastating internet connection. But that does not slow him down as he brazenly walks forth to the middle lane minions to get himself a nice meal to take home to his base. Watch as he brilliantly farms up these minions and doesn't miss a single last hit before using his powers of lag to expertly juke that enemy Morgesh's ability. Here we see the Grim looking around his surroundings, assessing what potential danger may lurk in the leaves below. Here we see him once again going back to his feeding grounds in the mid lane, expertly getting all of the gold required to sustain his appetite. Here we see the GRIM.exe going for a early rotation on this Grux. Perhaps it was something deep in his nature calling to him to rotate south for the winter. Oh, in the jungle here, he's found his natural enemy, the Kalari jungle. Using her powers of invisibility, she seems to sneak upon him. He motions to his symbiotic Quang, so that together with their might, they might finish off that Grux, finding themselves both a hefty meal for the winter. Now our GRIM.exe will rotate back to his mid lane, which he has neglected for too long on his search for food. Watch as he brilliantly takes out that river buff, even with the devastating lag. It seems as though the tables are really stacked against him. But it is this pursuit of life that leads... Oh, and here we have the Chimera, coming for a brilliant gank in the middle lane. And would you look at that, the GRIM.exe utilizing his blink in order to finish off that Morgesh. He will be eating excellent tonight for supper, as he stores her gold in his money pouch for later consumption. Watch here as he clears up this middle wave, brilliantly hitting every possible last hit. He eyes the right lane, thinking about a potential migration, but decides it is in his best interest to continue fattening up for the winter ahead. His rival, the Morgesh, attempting to contest him on his real estate as the Beachmaster of the middle lane. Here we can see him backing off, luring her into a false sense of security, before then turning around and letting that chopper talk. What will the Morgesh do? It seems as though she likes to back off a bit, respecting this GRIM.exe's pure, unadulterated power and strength. Going for another river buff rotation. He walks back towards the mid lane, looking for any prey unfortunate enough to step in his grasp. He's found it, the Morigesh. She thinks she can take this mechanical beast, but little does she know, the GRIM.exe is ready to go. Here we see him once again, clearing up these minions and farming up for his own well-being. He spotted a potential kill in the right lane, making the migration thousands of miles in order to find himself lunch. Here he sees the Narbash, a hefty, large consumption that will give him lots of nutrients for the winter. Here we can see he's taking the unfavorable matchup against the Sparrow, brilliantly luring her to a false sense of security, for him then to finish her off with his unmissable lock-on ultimate. Truly one of nature's little mysteries. Here we can see him sharing this wave with the benevolent Steel support. Now, with his newfound reapings, he will return to the nest in order to invest on further items, thus growing his power. Here we see a true creature of class and excellent taste, going with the first item, Imperator. Truly an excellent choice. Watch as he returns to his homeland of the middle lane, eyes peeled for any potential unrest, brilliantly securing that green buff, giving himself a protective coating of a shield that will help in his endeavors. Here we see the young, juvenile Morigesh clearly showing her lack of experience trying to contest this Beachmaster Grim in his own mid lane. That's it, she stepped a little too close for comfort. Show them how it's done, GRIM.exe. Our Grim has sniffed out a rotating Sparrow, migrating north for the winter. He contests her on her migration, knowing that this breeding ground is not big enough for the two of them, putting her in her place and returning to his base once more. Or so he thought. He spots his ally, the Chimera, a symbiotic relationship, two organisms helping each other for the greater good. But now he spots trouble, a 3 versus 1, he brilliantly ducks out of there to save himself and live another day.
Please enjoy the music.
Returning to the base once more to spend his bounty of the day, he recalls to return to the safety of his core, working his way towards more critical strikes. This GRIM.exe is showing why he is the alpha dog in this environment. Heading back down to the middle lane, it seems as though his Morigesh opponent does not want to tussle in the slightest. She is beginning to respect the pure power of this maturing male GRIM.exe, boasting his strength, testing himself against this Morigesh middle lane. With the newfound gray buff in hand, giving him enhanced speed and mobility, he looks for a fight, noticing behind him a Kalari jungle, his natural predator, trying to hunt him down in the middle lane. There she is, lurking right on his tower line, creating an environment of hostility and unease. But what's that? It appears as though his Chimera ally might be rotating middle lane, migrating for a beautiful gank for the winter, forcing out the blink of the Morigesh, an excellent play. she will not have that for 3 more lunar cycles, giving the Grim and Chimera a chance to take her down in the future. Back to farming his lane, you can see the GRIM.exe is a master of wave clear, brilliantly getting each last hit, and now, with the minions gone, looking for a perfect opportunity for a fight to boast his strength. That's it, Morgesh, you are done for once again. Seeing an opportunity, he takes a few pop shots at the Morgesh's tower, before once again his natural predator comes for a gank upon him. Seeing his young, vulnerable body so isolated and alone in the mid lane, she takes this opportunity to strike. But he won't go down without a fight, looking to give her a bit of a poke in return. What will the enemy Kalari do? She looks like she's trying to step up. The Grim mid will be having none of that, putting her once again in her place. It seems as though the Morgesh, seeing his low health, finds herself an opportunity to engage, but this is exactly what the juvenile GRIM.exe is looking for, as he finishes her off with ease. Showing once and for all the pure power of the GRIM.exe middle lane in the current meta of this economical and environmental climate. Finding himself sitting pretty, he goes for another rotation into the mid lane. Or so he thinks, as he actually just decides to hang out around this corner, and then now, brilliantly stalking his prey, he hunts down what would be his predator, is now his prey, finishing off the Kalari once again, with help from his symbiotic Chimera jungler. Together they help each other fight for food, often sharing meals. Here we see the Chimera in trouble. GRIM.exe knows what he must do, sacrificing his own body in order to help out an ally. Finishing off the Sparrow, they both will be eating well tonight. The GRIM.exe has spotted a potential threat as they go for their enormous bounty of the Fangtooth. Throwing all fear aside, he engages upon this Morgesh, knowing that she is no match for him in his current state. The mid laner now, low mana, low health, is at risk of another gank from this Kalari jungle. So he will look to clear up these river buffs and mosey his way over to the left lane, where he sees a potential opportunity to fight this Grux. Oh, there he spots another threat, the Kalari ever looming, lurking, and waiting for his downfall. He can smell a fight, brilliantly rotating over to the Kalari, showing her who the real alpha predator of these woods is. Almost able to save his ally, Chimera, he avenges his death and finishes off the Grux. Here we see the GRIM.exe looking at his minimap and determining that his mid lane tower is under threat. Watch as he rotates over to the middle lane to attempt to defend it. Unfortunately, it is too late, and his safety of his nest has been destroyed by rival gang and predatory inhibitions. Here we see the Quang going for a forward-facing gank, a juvenile mistake that he will soon learn to correct. The GRIM.exe will be having none of this, and instead return to his base in order to buy some items. That's it, his crest has evolved and he goes for the Pacifier crest, giving him enhanced mobility in the face of danger, letting him get in and out of a sticky situation with ease. Here we see him brazenly charging head forth into the 2 versus 1. It's now a 3 versus 1, but does the GRIM.exe mid lane care? No, he does not. He is going down swinging. That's it, getting ganked again by the Kalari. But he's going still, full force forward, brilliantly using his lock-on ultimate to finish the Sparrow, turning on the Morigesh, and using his years of evolutionary enhancements to finish them off. Truly a beautiful sight of nature. Nothing screams evolution like a displacement blast. Now, as he clears up this middle wave, he's looking to take down the enemy's tower, swinging the favor back towards him. Sitting at a hefty 14-0, this GRIM.exe middle lane fears nothing. Watch as he walks headfirst into the enemy's jungle, looking for a fight, meeting up with his symbiotic ally, the Chimera, once more. Here he waits, stalking his prey like a lioness ready for the hunt, spotting out the Sparrow, missing all of his shots, and retreating to the safety of the jungle once more. Here he goes for a double loop-de-loop and pull technique where he just keeps looping around in circles, before ultimately backing off towards his base. Ooh, he has been caught out by a predatory Grux. He runs to his benevolent steel for safety. A bastion of safety, the steel protects him from what may come. But alas, it is too late, and the GRIM.exe's reign of terror has finally ended to his natural predator, the Kalari jungle. Here we see the juvenile male Chimera jumping in 1 versus 3, a bit too gung-ho. Watch as our offlane Quang brilliantly takes down this tier 2 tower, creating pressure on the enemy team to rotate over. Will he make it out alive? Tune in to find out. Our GRIM.exe spots trouble and runs over to help his ally, the Quang. Will he be able to make it in time? He will need to utilize expert pathing in order to save his Quang ally. What will he do? Oh, and it looks like he went the wrong direction, thus dooming his Quang to the gray screen. Alright. Gotten the gray buff, giving him extra movement speed, which will help him survive the harsh wilds of the middle lane. Here we see him taking out this wave of minions, farming up for the cold winter ahead. Rotating over to the Fangtooth for the 3rd Fangtooth of the game. This will provide an excellent form of nutrition for his entire team. Brilliantly finishing it off with a displacement blast, the GRIM.exe returns to the middle lane, looking for his next meal. That's it, he spotted it, the Grux and Sparrow. They can sense their impending demise and retreat to the safety of their tier 2 tower. But the GRIM.exe is still hungry. You can see it in his eyes as he goes looking for some trouble before spotting out a Kalari pushed far too forward on the left tier 2 tower. Before then, he stops towards this mini-prime to help his team take a necessary objective if they are to succeed in the wild. Rotating over to the left lane, he searches for his natural predator, the Kalari, before finding himself a delicious little snack. Spotting the Kalari all the way pushed up on the tier 2 tower, he goes to make his rotation. Chimera brilliantly laying wait like an antlion setting his trap, before finishing off this juvenile Kalari, inexperienced in the ways of jungling. The GRIM.exe buffed up purple with the blue buff, is now a force to be reckoned with as he charges headforth into this Grux, showing no fear at all, blasting him down with ease. But he's not done yet. The GRIM.exe spots a low health Morgesh and goes for the rotation. But she is finished off by his ally Revenant, truly a force to be reckoned with. He rotates back to his middle lane, low health but not a fear in the world. Clearing up these minions, he also clears up another wave of minions, thus extending the lead between him and his rival, the Morgesh. He waits for this river buff before spotting another challenger, the Kalari jungle, his natural predator. But she's come to the wrong neighborhood. The juvenile male GRIM.exe spots another target, the Narbash middle lane, or perhaps even the Sparrow. Leaping into her tower, no fear at all, the Chimera brazenly goes for a play. The GRIM.exe helps out, finishing her off before taking the fight to the Sparrow, using his lock-on unmissable ultimate, truly a marvel of evolutionary prowess. The GRIM.exe dashing in towards the Narbash, finding himself another succulent meal. But he's not done there, as he faces this Grux, running him down, finishing him off, securing a quadra kill. And he's not done yet, as he charges head forth into this Kalari, dashing forwards, shooting her out of the sky, securing himself an unofficial pentakill. He doesn't give any hoots as he dashes right into the tower before missing his final blow. Unfortunately, a bit of a misplay from our GRIM.exe middle lane. Here we can find him purchasing the Terminus item, allowing himself to sustain throughout all of these engagements in the middle lane, and securing more power for his ultimates and displacement blast. Here we can watch as the Steel runs cowardly towards his carry Revenant to bail him out of a fight, before turning back around and, due to some horrible lag, missing his stun on the Narbash. The GRIM.exe returns to the middle lane, looking once again for another meal. He spots out a Morgesh being jumped on by the Chimera, but he takes that one all for himself. The GRIM.exe will have to find another meal. Looking leftwards towards this Grux, he spots a potential ally, and then just absolutely obliterates this Kalari in 2 shots, before she uses her predatory prowess of stealth to escape his grasp. He makes a prediction, guessing that maybe she went left towards a tower. But unfortunately, he's not able to find anything today. The GRIM.exe will have to go hungry another day. But he's not done yet. He spots a potential meal in the middle lane, seeing this Sparrow, using his Chimera as bait to lure her out of her tower. He charges forth brazenly before blasting her with an 800 damage displacement blast. Truly a beautiful sight to behold. The GRIM.exe spots once again, all the way pushed up to his inhibitor left lane, the Narbash and Kalari, looking like an excellent meal. He spots the Narbash, looking to engage, but is stunned away by the Narbash's expertly placed thunk, allowing him to survive another day. But he spotted the Kalari going in recklessly. An excellent meal, using his brilliantly aimed lock-on unmissable ultimate. She was not able to escape. The GRIM.exe rotates middle lane once more, searching for another potential meal to fatten up for the winter. Finding a siege minion, this will do nicely as he hunts for his next target. He spots a fight in the right, before deciding maybe to go back middle, seeing a Narbash all alone, separated from his herd. He considers going for the Narbash before ultimately realizing it might be a bit more than he can chew. But he sees his ally, the Chimera, going in brazenly and knows that he must go help. He charges forward, locking on his unmissable ultimate and finishing off the Morgesh, before shooting this Kalari out of the sky, blasting her to a million pieces, charging forward half health towards the Sparrow, no fear at all behind his eyes. Watch as the GRIM.exe charges forth, looking for his next victim. The Grux has proven himself inescapable from the clutches of this GRIM.exe. He charges forth head first, a bit of a dicey fight. The GRIM.exe got a bit too big for his britches there, taking the fight to the all-powerful warlord, Grux, a bit too close for comfort. Back to the shop with you, Grim. You will learn from your mistakes this time. Here we see the Chimera looking around in the jungle for his next potential meal, before attempting to take down this primal Fangtooth. The Chimera, perhaps inexperienced in his nature, thinks that he's a good challenge for this Fangtooth, but his team, his herd, will come defend him and help take this down together, a true sign of familial bonds, as the team grows stronger. Here we see the GRIM.exe searching through the plethora of items, looking for something that will just hit like an absolute truck. He considers the Absolution, considers the Deathstalker, considers the Tainted Blade, before ultimately realizing, hey, maybe I should just get this Stormbreaker. I think it's very overpowered. So he locks in the Stormbreaker, as his entire team perishes in the middle lane, due to his own negligence. He charges forth back down, looking for his next potential victim. Spotting his ally Quang in the distance, he goes for a play. Seeing the enemies fighting on the Orb Prime, he pings to it for his Quang ally to rotate over. Knowing that this could be a tussle, he waits for his tank to engage before charging forth on his natural rival, the Morgesh. He spots his predator, the Kalari, blasting her down before turning onto the Grux. Dashing into the Grux, he wants revenge for what happened last time. Blasting him with a displacement blast, he spots as the Narbash attempts to run from the all-powerful Orb Prime before being finished off. Here his team, his herd, rotates over to help him out as they clear the Orb Prime, gaining themselves a 20% damage buff. Here we see the herd rotating towards the middle lane, looking to close out this game once and for all, thus ending the reproductive cycle of the GRIM.exe middle lane. We spot him easily clearing an entire wave of minions in a matter of seconds, before spotting his next potential target, the Morgesh mid. I don't know where she was looking, but it was not this game. He spots his next potential victim, the Sparrow, knowing that she will be an excellent meal, devouring her whole in a matter of seconds. Charging forth, he spots another victim, the Kalari. Defending his ally, he charges in head first, wanting to take down this Grux. before the steel comes plowing through, obliterating him once and for all. The GRIM.exe finishes off all who stand before him, before doing his victory taunt on the enemy team, thus establishing himself as the dominant male of the area. This has been a wonderful life of GRIM.exe mid lane, a nature documentary on the trials and tribulations of a young growing automaton in the middle lane. This has been Morgan Freeman. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.